Well, that was weird. It didn't go live. I'll try again.
There you go. That says that we are live. So welcome, everyone. Let's keep going.
Well, that's the weirdest thing. It says we're not live, but I think we might be. I don't know.
There you go. Wow. Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, we are live. There you go.
That was weird.
That's the weirdest thing. So Canadian wine lovers, Carl's Wine Club members, welcome. Wednesday, happy hour. This is Bella Terra. How are you today?
Doing great. Hopefully we won't have any more issues, but yeah, it said we weren't live and then we were live. So, it's time for Wine Wednesday.
It sure is. It sure is time for Wine Wednesday. I'm going to move this here. There you go. It is. No, it's been a weird day in terms of internet connection and Roger dropping out and this and that. So.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys, any of you experienced more Rogers problems, but we certainly had Rogers problems today. So that was interesting.
It sure was. It sure was. Anyway, let's get going.
So this week, we are doing one of our very favorite wineries. And there's actually someone here from the winery already in the green room. Should we let him in?
Yeah, wait a second. I need to go around the country a little bit. We're gonna say hi to everyone, okay? I knew he's very important. I don't know. We always roll out the red carpet for that guy, but I think that we can wait another 2 minutes. Brother, we'll be right with you. So Canadian wine lover, it's Bella Terra week this week. The Carl's Wine Club members' favorite Ontario Winery of the Year last year. We did a quick feature this summer for new release, but we had to do something special because this is the 2020 release. So we have an amazing pack available this week. We are thrilled. We're going to talk about that with Marcel in a few minutes. But before we go all around, we go back to Ontario and talk about these amazing wine. I want to say Happy Wednesday, un beau bonjour à tout le monde en français, à tous nos amateurs de vin francophones qui se joignent à nous à toutes les semaines. So, la gang de francophones dans l'Est, à Québec, dans les cantons de l'Est, dans la région des Bois-Francs, au Saguenay, partout la gang de francophones, nos amateurs de vin francophones. Un beau bonjour. On parle de Bella Terra cette semaine, un de nos vignobles préférés au pays. C'était l'année passée. Il a gagné le vote populaire en tant que vignoble de l'année l'an dernier avec Carl's Wine Club. So, Marcel, notre ami de Niagara, va se joindre à nous dans quelques minutes. On parle de la nouvelle release, la nouvelle offre du millésime 2020, de 2020. Le millésime du siècle en Ontario, un millésime parfait. Donc, on parle de la nouvelle offre, les vins de Bella Terra qui vont être disponibles bientôt sur le marché, mais maintenant exclusifs avec Carl's Wine Club. Fait qu'on est très excités de tout ça. Un beau bonjour à tout le monde. On va parler de tout ça avec Marcel dans quelques minutes. Qu'est-ce que tu en penses? What do you think?
Very good. I like hearing you talk in French. It's very nice.
There you go. I always need to do a little bit more, Anyway. Which kind of week did we have this week? Hey, it's Thanksgiving week, so we hopefully everyone had a great Thanksgiving dinner, Thanksgiving weekend. We had beautiful weather here in BC. We had a great wine party. We had an amazing dinner on Sunday night. We had wine friends over, so Michelle, Sawchuck, Rob Amersley from Black Market, Karen and Jan. So we had a table filled with food. There was so much food in here. It was crazy. And we tasted a lot of great wine. A lot of it.
Yeah. And everyone was a little bit pooched because it's harvest. So just the day before, like Carl and Michelle were facing off. They just picked Chardonnay, and they were trying to put it all into one pass through the crusher, or what is that?
Yeah, to the press. So we tried to do only one press with so the bladder press, the pneumatic press that Rob's own at Black Market, they kind of hold 2 tons of grapes, but we had 2.3 tons. So we had to squish the grapes a little bit more before putting all of these beautiful grapes in the press. And so that was a lot of fun. Everyone knows how much I love Chardonnay. Rob never made Chardonnay. So if you know Black Market Wine Company, there's never been a Chardonnay on their portfolio. No, because first, the Conviction Ridge Vineyard, the home vineyard Black Market, they don't grow Chardonnay. And Rob never got his hand and never crossed his mind to make Chardonnay. And I've been bugging him for a couple of years now. And he made a trade this year. We got a trade. Yeah, he traded grapes with another vineyard in Caledon, and he's like, hey, I know you like Chardonnay. Do you want to be involved a little bit in the process? So I was absolutely thrilled. And we started the whole process. The wine is in barrel now. We crushed it, and now it's fermenting slowly in barrel. So yeah, we'll touch base a little bit later this week to see where's the fermentation's at. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any highlight from our dinner? Which wine did really come across like absolutely amazing? There was a few, I think. I didn't even know that Rob ever made a Pinot Noir. So we had the Black Market Pinot Noir back from the 2017 vintage. It was pretty cool. Le Vieux Pin. Le Vieux Pin had a Viognier Roussanne Marsanne that it was pretty darn fantastic. I'll tell you one thing. The wine of the night was the wine from our guests here. Yes. And it was the Bella Terra 2020 Bella Terra Cabernet Franc. So
it was pretty good. It was amazing.
Geez. I still have that creamy, velvety, satin texture in my mouth.
Really good. So, all right, we'll bring him on, Marcel.
I'll bring him on.
Ah, nice mug, Marcel.
Some people actually use it for drinking.
Oh yeah. Okay.
You have to be so careful if you ever come over.
Cheers.
You should try it sometime. It works, Carl. You can actually.
Did I ever tell you what Carl does? Like at least once or twice a week, he spits wine into his coffee. Yeah, for real. Yeah. I hear like a bunch of French swear words and I come over. I'm like, did you do it again? And he's like, yeah.
That's funny.
Usually that's what comes out is Carlis the tabernacle.
Yeah, don't share Carl's mug. Don't do it.
No.
Even if it's a different mug, like he's so used to the mug being the place to spit in. And yeah, tough life.
Yeah. I apologize for my background. It's very unorganized. Since we came back from BC, I when I walked in here, there was like bottles all over the floor, and I'm like, oh crap, I gotta put a chair in the cellar. So I just hammered the place full with whatever was on the floor, and yeah, there was quite a few empty spots actually. So this winter, after all the craziness, it's gonna be reorganizing time.
There you go. So hey, now we're getting to mid-October, Marcel. How's everything's going right now at the winery? How's things with harvest? At which level are you guys at? Do you guys have picked the reds? Usually Chardonnays are picked by now. So
yeah, Chard, Pinot, Riesling. Pinot Grigio, I mean, so Riesling, Sauvignon Blanc, it's all in. I mean, it's looking great. You know, reds are next here, but you know, it's looking like a great vintage. It's just this year there is not much out there. So when we talk about 2020, you know, that was the perfect vintage. Lots of grapes and great quality grapes. So one of those, comes around every few years. The year that we're experiencing this year with all the winter damage that we had in Ontario, in Niagara especially, that happens every 17 years. So there's today wineries locally that they have never experienced anything like it. But I can tell you, I'm having post-traumatic stress coming through from 17 years ago. It's interesting time in the industry here. So we'll make it through like we did last time. It'll be less wine. It'll be great wine, but luckily we have something like the 2020 vintage to crack open and to get us through the next little while here until we have more grapes. So
I think that's
the business.
Yeah, I think it's a very important thing to mention, though. It's nothing about the growing season this year, because the growing season was not as horrific. Like the growing season was great. The qualities are fantastic.
Yes.
The problem, and sometimes that's what people don't understand, it's the problem comes from the winter. It's winter damage is from these short period of frost where it's like there's like short or long period of frost like we had last year. Can you explain a little bit more where this big issue is coming from?
Well, so I think from what I understand, there's a few things, and please keep in mind, I'm not the grower. So there's probably people that, including Lou, who is not around obviously at the moment, but that have a lot more experience with this. But from what I'm gathering and talking to everyone and seeing what has happened in our vineyards, is that we came out of a pretty milder and wet fall. So that was one thing. The other thing is that we had a very decent crop, and in some vineyards quite a heavy crop last vintage. And so what has to happen, and if anyone on the call knows it better than I do here, please start typing away. But that the vines have to harden up. That year's growth has to harden up a little bit to carry it through the winter time. So that didn't happen as much as it would in other years. And then you get these cold snaps that just hits the vine. So you lose the buds, right? Like the fruit carrying buds. And in some instances, I've seen some of the vineyards even worse, where you can have trunk damage as well, which then means like now you're starting from total scratch. So we have not had that, and I think the majority of vineyards, from what I understand, didn't have that. So we're always leaving. So first of all, in our area, you really should, and I think the majority of growers do, protect the grafting point, where the European varietal is cloned on the North American rootstock. That's definitely the weak part in the vine. And if you come here late fall or in the winter time, you'll see that that everything is held up to that point to protect that grafting point from direct frost. But short of burying the whole thing, we have wind turbines to help us move the cool air out. But when you have these really quick, very harsh days or nights of frost, not much that you can do, and that's where we get hit. So,
I think that you summarized it you summarized it perfectly. And I think I'll have to give you a 95% on your homework here. You did a great job. I don't know what to put you on the spot.
If you don't know something well, and you have to listen to everyone to tell it to you, you're better at explaining it afterwards.
I know, and you know what? That's exactly what it is, right? Like the heavy crop from last year, not enough time to go into hibernation. and these very quick dip in temperature absolutely crushed the bud. And yeah, so I've talked to people, Marcel, in your area that where they lost over 70% of their grapes this year.
And you know what? It averages out to from what I understand in the region to like a 50% loss, but that's an average. Let's just say we harvested enough Sauvignon Blanc to take pictures of the grapes. It fills a full frame. But you know, and then other varietals like Riesling, even Riesling got hit, but we got a lot more out of it. So we'll have to see how the reds are. But I can tell you there is the Cora's Vineyard that we have, which is predominantly Sauvignon Blanc. There's also some Merlot on that vineyard, and there was a serious debate whether we're going to run the we can't justify putting a crew in there harvesting it by hand. That definitely not enough. And then we ask ourselves, is it even worth it to run the harvester quickly through it? So we have some for our base Cab Merlot. So I think there will be some, but it'll be very limited.
Wow. Crazy. And that's funny because when you're talking about the staging for the pictures and all that, Mira knows all about that. She used to live under the dictator. When the dictator used to walk somewhere, they used to stage everything, and he goes somewhere else, they bring all the stuff. So I guess that's what we're doing with the grapes this year. No, I'm just bugging here.
Well, so just so we're clearing this up, Vicky is asking about her wild ferment Riesling, and yes, I can confirm that I had a conversation with Fred today, and we're making at least a couple hundred. I think it'll be exactly a couple hundred cases of wild ferment Riesling. So
there you go.
That's it. Don't hang up on me yet, Vicky.
I think she already has too much invested with you guys. We're all good on that front, and I think that she knows that we have the Cab Franc and the Cab Sauv pre-release from the 2020 here. But yeah, you know what, we have talked too much about the bad news. I have faith in Fred, I have faith in Lou and you, that you guys, what we're going to get from you from the 2022, it's going to be top notch, because I know the number. It's going to be wines with elegance. It's not going to be the big bomb, but there's going to be wines with complexity and elegance.
Hold out on those reds. I don't know, man. It's still looking very good, and they're still hanging. So again, might not be a lot, but the fruit is looking great. So
how about we talk a little bit about that bomb? How about we talk a little bit about the big boys, about the wine that we tasted together a couple times in barrel, about some product that we knew from the beginning that these wines will be.
And that video footage of us commenting on those barrels shall only be published after we pass. That's it.
There's an app on my phone and on the computer where there's a lock. Yeah. And we put this one under lock, right? The candy.
Everything went so well. We had a plan. And then
Marcel, we couldn't resist though.
The passion for these wines just took over, and we realized, I guess, the
camera. And I think there's an hour and 13 minutes of footage, not like 5 minutes. I'm
gonna blush right here now. That's it.
Like, this is jail time for all of us. Multiple years of jail time, I'm telling you.
But if you want to know how passionate we were, I tell you. Well, maybe we'll sell it on some website one day. There you go.
Absolutely.
You guys got pretty excited. Well, look, we had your 2020 Reds open here the last few days. And we've tried to get as many people to taste these around us, neighbors and whatnot, because they are freaking fantastic. We were even out today. Look at this. With Richard De Silva. We just featured De Silva last weekend. Yes. What do we have there, Carl? We had the 2020 Cab Sauv open, right?
Yeah. So the 2020. So we had a meeting with Richard this morning, and I brought the third of the bottle that I had left, and I said, you need to taste that. So to see his first taste, he's like, "Are you shitting me? This is not from Ontario. Can be." I'm like, "Well, Jesus Christ, it's right here on the label, right?" And anyway, his Cab Sauv 2020 is not released yet, and it's still. So he stood up, he went right down in the cellar, and he brought one of his bottle of the 2020. He's like, "We need to put that side by side," and we went back and forth. So that was pretty cool. We did that this morning, actually. But I have to say, my friend, as for people in British Columbia who has the perception, who have in their mind that we can't have big cabs or ripe fruit, ripe Cabernet Sauvignon from Ontario, the day that you're going to open a bottle of this, you'll change your mind completely. This is the living proof what you can do in a stunning vintage, and this wine is like it's something else. The Cab Sauv, I gave it a 93 plus points. I'm telling you, it's probably so far. There's only one other Cab Sauv from Ontario that is at the same level, and it was the 2018, the 2018 reserve from what's our friend Elif at Ice Cellar.
Ice Cellars, yeah.
Yeah, that's probably the only Cab Sauv from your region that can be at that same level. It's stunning.
I think, so actually Vicky was just
Yeah,
commenting.
she has a good question here.
She texted me earlier asking about the 2020 Franc versus the 2020 Cab Sauv, and you know, which one to buy. Now, you know, like I would like to get your opinion on that, but like the way that I explained it to her, it's like, well, I mean, the obvious is you buy 50-50, but then I think it's how patient are you? You want to start drinking right now? I feel the Cab Franc is quite a bit more open than the Cab Sauv at the moment. But from my experience, looking at vintages that are similar to 2020, you know, whether it's how far you want to go back, 2010, 2012, even 16, I felt like it was always the same thing where Cab Franc seems to open up first, and then it's this very slow race between Cab Franc, Cab Sauv, depending on when you open it. Sometimes the one is more approachable. Like right now, I feel like the 17 Cab Sauv that we have is drinking absolutely beautifully. So I think I had a very hard time answering that. So I'd like to get your opinion on it.
And it sounds like
if you had to spend all your money on either Cab Franc or Cab Sauv.
And she's trying to compare it to the 17 Cab. Which one?
Cab Sauv.
Yeah. So if you guys want a dissertation from me here, I can go on for at least 25 minutes on that one. I think right now, okay, listen, Marcel, you already explained it a little, like very well in a nutshell. Cab Franc had out of the gate, like if you see it as a race, Cab Franc got out of the block like at a lightning speed, like incredible start for the Cab Franc of the 2020. It came out of the gate soft, creamy, velvety, like I never expect. I did like at that stage of the game, I did not expect something that soft. You can see in the backhand, you can see the structure. This will last for a long time. This is not a short game here, even with the Cab Franc. But out of the gate, Cab Franc took a mile out. Took a really, really, really good. Like he's ahead of the game. So now you'll look back for the Merlot, and you can look at the Cab Sauv. Cab Sauv is so purely Cab Sauv from that vintage. You look at the nose, it's graphite, it's tobacco, it's cedar. There's a lot of Bordeaux component in that Cabernet Sauvignon, but there's a structure, a bright acid. This wine will last for at least 15, 17 years. I'm not joking. This wine is built to last. But surprised, I'm very, very, very surprised how approachable it is out of the gate too. It's not as soft and creamy than the Cab Franc, There is a little bit more of an attack with the tannin, but it's expected. It's Cab Sauv. It's not the Franc. There's more grip. There's a little bit more punch to it. But I can see that wine last forever.
I think we got to keep in mind, like, these wines are babies, right? I mean, it might be, 2020 was 2 years ago, but we did something a little different with this release. Like, normally we try to keep the wines in bottle for at least 6 months, usually about a year before release. Now, because of how spread out, the top vintages are, which that's, when you see this white label for Bella Terra, that's always our top line of wines from the older vintages. From the older vineyards that hand harvested, pre-selected, bottled, unfiltered. So, but with this vintage, we released a couple of the wines to the public right away. The Merlot, which I think is quite approachable, and also the Meritage, because we had so much demand for it and we had been sold out for so long. So we decided that, this year we're going to do it differently, because that vintage is so much more open than, for example, 2017. But with 2017, we could have never done this. And even 16, it took a while for those wines to open up. So we decided that we're going to, the Cab Franc, the Cab Sauv, we're keeping back right now until further notice. We've only released the Merlot and the Meritage to the public. So right now we feel like that the Cab Franc, Cab Sauv is, for the people that know us, that know where the wines are going to go, that people that trust you guys to select the wines, not just based on can you crack the bottle open right now and hammer it back, but is this something that we should put in our cellar? So that's why, when you asked me about it, can we offer this, we've only offered it to our wine club members as a pre-purchase. So this is the last pre-purchase. Then it's going away for a while. But if you have the patience to decant it, I think if you have the patience to decant it before really enjoying and so on, there's nothing wrong in my mind to open them now. And for the believers, we're offering it at a pre-release price right now. So
that's craziness. That part is absolute craziness. When I hung up the phone, I look at Mira and I said, I can't believe it's happening. Like, a deal on some of the best wine they ever produced. That is crazy. But then after that, we had that chat, and you say, hey,
but
girl,
it's Carl's Wine Club. Come on.
It's just because we have a relationship for so long, and you guys have been such a great supporter. And I think your team have decided that, yeah, it was worth it.
Never mind the relationship we have. I know it's going to the right people. So,
but hey, let's get back to the wine.
If you know the production numbers, I was just checking in our notes. We don't have that.
Now I have to go by memory. We have to look notes.
It up. I think we're looking at 300 cases. I think around that.
I think we did it. I think we did a little bit more. So it could be in that. I think for those two, I think 400 or 500 cases of the Cab Franc and the Cab Sauv, because we. Because it carried very well, and there were hardly any losses. So where we normally sort out, it was extremely clean fruit. But never mind how much was produced. It's gonna go faster than.
Because we've done a lot. We've done a library release with the Cabernet Franc all the way back to the Pond View product with the vintage 14, 15, 17 I was a big fan of the 17. Now, I have to say, especially on the Franc level, like 2020 is on a different planet in term of texture. And I've mentioned that just a very few times in the last couple of years. And then when I mentioned to Mira, this has Spadefoot Toad Syrah 2014 texture, she knows what I mean. It's that the ultimate creaminess, the ultimate velvety texture, and this one has it. Like the 17 is on an absolute different planet right now. It's incredible. I can see the long-term potential of the cab. And that's funny enough, because remember when we tasted these wines in barrels, I think I had a really soft spot for Merlot. Yes. The Merlot was to me, and when I tasted it that last week, I saw a gap. I say, okay, I know where it's going. I know exactly where it's going. That wine, at this one, let's wait 2 years a little bit, because I think this wine can give you so much more. And because I opened the Cap Franc first, and the Franc was just like messed up the whole freaking thing, because texture is so great out of the gate, and it's something unique, something very, 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 very special.
So now, where does the Merlot fit in then? Are you turning your back on the Merlot? What's going on?
No, that's what I'm saying. I shouldn't have tasted the Franc first, because of
Janice is on. I think she's one of your wine club members. She says she has the pre-release of Merlot. I don't know if she's tried it yet, but that was your favorite one in barrel, right, Carl?
Oh, absolutely. And even the night when we brought all of the members, all of the barrel just before bottling, the Merlot again had a good points ahead of the other three, but I don't know what happened between and it's not a knock on the Merlot, it's all on the Cap Franc. I feel like the Cap Franc jumped. So
well, you know what? Give it 6 months, give it 12 months, and the story will totally change again. Because I think that with the Merlot was like really open in barrel and so on. And I think it's opening up more so now, but I felt that after bottling right away, it was rather closed. So that's the other thing, right? How these wines react after bottling. So I just feel like that Merlot is really turning into a fruit bomb as well. When you talk about velvety, lots of that in the Merlot like already there and to come. So actually, that is the first time we have made Merlot at that level. We did in the Pondview days. I think it must have been, I'm not gonna lie here, maybe it was the 16 vintage. We did a small amount just as a trial, but it was like nowhere close to the level of Merlot that this is. So this is very exciting to have a big Merlot in the lineup. And I can tell you, definitely we'll make big Cap Franc almost every year. We'll make big Cap Sauv almost every year when there's grapes. But I can tell you that like Merlot like that, we'll make a great Merlot. If that's the goal, we can make a great Merlot every year. Not to the level that these Cap Francs and Cap Sauvs are. So this is this Merlot, I think, is the first time where we've reached that level of Merlot at the winery.
And if you look at my tasting notes, I gave an open score to the Merlot, because I know where it can go, and I opened like the floor. I just 91 all the way up to 93, and to me that's where I know where it's going, and it needs a little bit more time to settle and to get where it wants to be. But I just couldn't believe where and how quick the Cap Franc was was opening up. So
well, we should have bet that day. I would have won that bet.
I know exactly. I can remember if it was last night, like the conversation we had, and I was like, oh no, all about the Merlot. And it's like, no, wait a minute, that Cap Franc's going to be like outstanding out of the gate. It's just show how much you know your product, how much you know your winemaker. So
there was one of these three, Carl. Which of these three, the Merlot, the Cap Franc, or the Cap Sauv, we had it open for like a week.
No, that's the Meritage. That's the Meritage.
Oh, it was the Meritage. Okay.
The Meritage.
Okay, I didn't picture that one. But the Meritage after like a week or even longer, right?
No, longer. I opened the Meritage before I flew out to Ontario to go spend 7 days. And 2 days ago, I just pulled the cork out, and it's still, now it just opened up.
Well,
2 weeks.
There's like this much in the bottle.
Yeah, so
and it was drinking beautifully.
I was gonna say that's where usually our Merlot of that level goes, right? Like, so this was the first time where we had extra Merlot at that level that we wanted to bottle 100%. But normally that level of Merlot all goes into our Meritage. And yeah, out of all the wines, I mean, that's the one in my mind that has always historically taken the longest to open up. And then when you talk about longevity, is the one that just keeps on going. So and this year for the first time we're actually doing supersized bottles, not available yet, but there's 1.5 liter bottles, 3 and liter bottles.
Now you're speaking my language.
Little bit of Cap Franc in large format too.
That's interesting.
No,
so I believe that not a whole lot of people knows about that.
No, it's in bottle, but they don't say anything on them yet. So that we're gonna wait on a little bit and talk about like, you know, opening up. As you know, in those bigger bottles, that'll take even longer. So whatever you said about 17 years, you can add a little bit of time to that.
Yeah, that's a quarter century here for 3 liters.
I
have Simon. Simon here is asking that the Cap Sauv was incredibly dense and concentrated. Is it gonna mellow down with time? Absolutely. It's gonna. To me, because now it's just like if it's just a big ball right here. It's just going to stretch out longer and longer. Things are going to develop. Things are going to get more complexity. And it's just going to gain. You're just going to stretch it out. Absolutely. It's a no-brainer. But out of the gate, I was fairly impressed with the Cap Sauv. To me, in terms of readiness, it was the second after the Cap Franc. So
we really, after how long have we just talked? We still haven't helped Vicky to make up her mind. I love it.
Yeah, she's not happy about that.
I know. But so I would say, you know what? As much as I like the 17 vintage, it's the 2020 has an edge. And
you know what? I'm also like you can pretty much sell the 2017 alongside the 2020, and even though both of them are Cap Franc and both of them are Cap Sauv, it's 2 totally different wines. Like it's really tough to say, oh, if I like this vintage, am I gonna like the other one as well? You know, if you're looking for concentration, I think it's in both of those. But you know, 2020 just a little bit more intense, and ready way earlier than the 17.
Exactly. That's exactly my the biggest difference is at which stage it's ready. But I have a feeling that, you know, and you and me had that conversation multiple times about big vintage that often fade out earlier. But you know what? I don't think I don't think it's going to happen with 2020. I think 2020.
You know what? It's that, yeah. I agree 100% because it happened with the 2012 vintage, 2016. If you have those wines in the cellar, like if you have the really heavy 12 and so on, you got to drink them. 16, still a little bit of time, but you know what? It's starting to get there. But what they came out always like a ton of that velvet, like that velvety feeling on the palate, which this has. But make no mistake, at the end of this velvety Cab Franc, you still feel the grip.
Oh, the structure and the acid.
Tannin. Yeah, so it's the last thing that hits me, but it's there, and I think it's a lot more. It's a lot more there than these the 12s and the 16s when they came out. They were just super velvety all the way through. Where this. It shows where it's going, but there's still a great backbone of the tannins there.
Oh yeah, absolutely. The structure on the back absolutely showed the longevity of that product, and I think that that 2020 will outlast everything because of that. It's not just a fruit bomb; it's a bomb of intensity. That's how I will put it out. Like there's so much intensity, power, and explosion and concentration. You got them all, like all of the qualifying. I don't know, like it's just everything is in there.
Anyway, we want everyone to drink these wines by 2025 because in 2023 is another great, big, beautiful vintage.
That's a nice sales pitch. Let's get the Hey, I want to talk about the Cora Vineyard. I want to talk about the 2021 Sauvignon Blanc because I tasted this wine in Niagara in June, and I thought it was absolutely spectacular. At that point, I gave it a 92 points. I'm pretty sure there's not a ton left of that on the market.
No. There's a couple hundred cases left, and they're going very fast because cat's out of the bag that there won't be much Sauvignon Blanc from this vintage. So out of the whites, this is one interesting one. Viognier I want to talk to you about because that's an interesting one. But the Sauvignon Blanc, and like I think when people talk about sales pitches, I think we're pretty honest about it. But this is no sales pitch. Like this is gonna be a race to the end, and when it's done, it's done. And we're gonna make, from what I understood. First, we thought we're not gonna make any for this vintage. There will be some. It just won't be that much. But the fruit also looks great. So this Sauv Blanc, yeah, you gotta stock up on. Like it's every vintage out of that vineyard is better than the previous one. And we started off with 3-year-old vines with stellar fruit. For wines that were at $16 a bottle.
Well, that's a crazy story. Let me stop you here. That's the crazy story. The Cora Vineyard was bring on board to produce a different brand and to go to a different project. And it ended up to create this because the fruit was way too good to pass on. I think that's the true story behind that.
Yeah, and we're working
that was not planned.
On a transition actually now because we're planting more Sauvignon Blanc on a different site, and as these vines are getting older, like I said, every single year, no matter what the vintage was overall, that property is a beast. Like it's, I mean, you've been through it. It grows, the vines grow like a weed. With constant. It must be the vineyard that we do. Canopy control like the most. So it's just, I'm really excited for what this is, but having seen it over the last few years where this vineyard is going. And that we do some of it in our Fumé Blanc as well. So like some of the rows we crop even thinner to get even more concentration. But there is like, yeah, you can taste the future from year to year of what this vineyard is turning into. And we're gonna change it over. That vineyard soon is gonna be 100% Sauvignon Blanc, because it's an amazing site for it.
So Mike, yes, Niagara-on-the-Lake for the Cora's Vineyard. Where exactly Cora's Vineyard is located? Are we talking about more of the lake?
McDonald's.
What was that?
Yeah, you go on Highway 55, turn right at McDonald's. It's right there.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Now, is it near the lake shore?
Yeah, so in a more romantic way, this is how you find it, but in a more romantic way, it's exactly on the line between the 4 Mile Creek sub-appellation, but already in the lakeshore appellation. So you have like, it's minutes, it's a gator ride from the winery. You know, when you go through the back fields, it's not far away at all. But when you look at the dirt at Bella Terra versus what we have there, it's already getting a lot sandier. You drive through Niagara-on-the-Lake, everything looks pretty flat, but this property actually has a very stretched out 12-foot drop from the back to the front. And
drainage, that's ideal for drainage, right?
Yeah, drainage, airflow, and you know, it just like lots of nutrients in it. It used to be a 75-year-old pear orchard, so it wasn't like regularly farmed land. So the first time that the soil was moved around after 75 years, next to Picard peanuts. Absolutely. Well, not quite. There is a little.
We're like family here. Everyone gets the joke. That's pretty freaking awesome. I love it.
There's another vineyard in between. Ours is the pretty one after that. So, but yeah, it's basically totally got thrown off by the frickin' peanuts comment. What the heck?
But hey, like that vineyard that we saw right by the lake with that incredible sunset, Marcel.
That's the new location for more Sauvignon Blanc. That one we're only gonna see Sauvignon Blanc from in a couple of years. We're gonna get some Pinot Gris from there in the coming years. So that's a property that we have a long-term lease on for farming it. So like, you know, not our vineyard, but we're doing everything from start to finish on it. The Cora's Vineyard we own, and it turned out to be Lou's nose was absolutely correct when we walked that old orchard, and he's like, yeah, this is Sauvignon Blanc. And I mean, I had no idea. What like?
Hey, he's the old farmer. We have to give him credit. The old man is a pretty darn good farmer.
Yeah, but you know what? He is still changing things up on the home farm, right? So it's like he was 100% correct on that Cora's Vineyard, but he is not done changing things on the home farm. There, like we used to have a lot more whites on the property, and he is other than some old, like the old Chardonnay and some of the older Riesling, everything else is being converted to Bordeaux reds, because you know as we're taking on some other vineyards and can move some of the whites out over the years, like he just discovered that the value long term on the home farm, it's the big reds, like bar none. Even in so-called challenging years, that home farm right in the core of the 4 Mile Creek sub-appellation, year after year, just does a great job. But you don't like even after years of farming, it's one thing to operate as a grape grower, and the other one where, you know, suddenly it's not just about selling the grapes to wineries anymore. Now it's your responsibility from start to finish. So you start looking at the different areas of the vineyards just a little bit more careful and saying, okay, what is this really going to do for me in the long term, right? So I find that extremely exciting, and it's not something that comes overnight. But to have seen that transition and see him to go through and looking at it, it's pretty exciting stuff.
That's awesome. Here's that new.
How's that?
That sounds awesome. And that place, you guys, we gotta throw a Carl's Wine Club get together at some point, because look at this sunset. Holy smokes, it was gorgeous.
Yeah, that was something else.
Yeah, that's a good view of Toronto from there, if that's what you want to look at. But
so yeah, so now we have a crazy bag this week. So this is a really good mix in between. Like you guys know how to make it appealing for our members. We do Chard-sur-Lie, the Viognier, and the Sauvignon Blanc. We add to that the Bella Terra Red, the Calm de Franc down, and the new Merlot. So these 6 wines, you even slashed the price, and you made it at the $149.95. So just including
just because
that.
Marcel likes the rounder numbers, right?
Yeah,
so.
he's like, screw that. Let's screw that. Get it to under 150. Okay. Free shipping, Ontario. Very reduced shipping for the rest of the country. You double that up, and you go free shipping all over the country. So this is amazing. And the kicker right now is the 2 pre-release. So the Cap Franc and the Cap Sauv, both I gave a 94 points for the Franc, 93 plus for the Cap Sauv. My notes are available on the link that Mira is going to put right here in the comments. But yeah, a fantastic offer.
Viognier, 2 seconds Viognier. We gotta
go ahead. Go ahead. I didn't want to take too much of your time. It's almost like it's bedtime for you right now.
Yeah, but it's dark down here, so I don't know what time. It's solitary confinement here. You don't know what time it is. So, what did you score the Viognier?
I sure did. I gave it a 91 or 90 plus. Very good. And when I tasted it, I was with Rob Amersley at his winery, and we loved it for the concentration. We loved it for the fruit forward. It's high in alcohol, and it's expected. It's 2020, and it's Viognier, so it's big, but it's not oily. And like I don't like that oily, like that. I don't like that texture when it's getting too oily or over buttery. And this is as not. There's a certain there's a restrained texture with power in there. So I thought it was fantastic.
So it's because of how Fred ages it. So it's 50% stainless steel, and the other half is in acacia wood barrels.
Ah, there you go.
No oak. So acacia wood, like you don't like, if you smell it, you don't get that oakiness on it. You don't get the that big roundness, because part of it was kept in stainless steel. So it's 100% fruit, obviously. And acacia wood, I mean, it used to be in Europe, like they used chestnut, right, for aging, all kinds of woods. Like in the early days, California, like redwoods and so on. So all kinds of woods have been used, and acacia wood is one of the things that are being tried more and more. And they really preserve a lot of the fruit in the wine. They add texture. And if anything, how you can detect the acacia wood is it adds a certain floral note to the wine. You know, like when you get that little bit of like a honeysuckle, that like white flower to it. So that seems to be something that acacia wood barrels give off to the wine. So this is, I think it's I might be lying here, but I think this is the third year that we're doing Viognier in that style, and it just displays a lot of the nice fruit, and exactly what you said. None of us at the winery like it that big and oily, and quite frankly, that wouldn't really fit into the lineup of our whites.
Exactly, they're more straightforward,
a lot more fruit forward, a lot more ready to drink, and Viognier I think does really well on our site, and it would have been weird to suddenly have that big oily wine in there. People, it would be very unexpected, and quite frankly, I don't think for us it would, because we didn't develop that following for that style of wine. I don't think it would do very well. So this is that happy medium. You get that full, obvious Viognier in the glass. So it's not like, I find it anyway, that it's not totally off the wall, but it is also not as rich and oily as you might expect from Viognier.
And that's also, I feel like there's also that really beautiful aging potential. This can go for another 6 years, no problem. There's much more to be discovered on the back end with that wine. I see a great complexity moving forward, and I can see lots of spice to develop in the next 2 to 3 years. So this wine is fairly exciting for the midterm, because I like how the Viognier would express itself after 3 to 4 years. So this is a wine to keep an eye on. That is,
well, I'll be drinking it. You can keep it, and then call me in 3 years, and we'll try it again.
And so, what's the source of the Viognier?
Right on the home farm.
Home farm, eh? Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, on the back, when you stand at the winery, back left. That's there. Yeah.
Okay, so back left. So so behind the pond.
Left.
Nice.
Wow. Past the McDonald's near the peanut stand. No?
No, that's a different vineyard.
Okay. Well, you know what? I think that we need to let you go. We have a birthday party tonight. It's the middle boy's birthday.
Woohoo!
So Gabby's turning 8 tonight. So we're gonna have to go rock it with his cake and a couple of gifts. Awesome. So yeah, thanks for joining us. We could have gone for another hour or two.
Yes.
Make sure you say hi to the team. Make sure you say hi to Fred. Make sure you say hi to our favorite farmer in the country. We miss him dearly. And you guys, to the family, to everyone around in Niagara, good luck for the rest of the harvest. Good luck for the reds. Hopefully Mother Nature will keep cooperating, and we'll keep you posted on more sales a little later tomorrow.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Yes,
thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Great to see you.
Cheers.
Take care. Thanks a million, brother.
That was so interesting.
Super cool.
Yeah. Hey,
really cool.
Ken's just joining. He's asking what kind of wood for the Viognier. It was acacia, I think, right?
Acacia. 50% stainless steel, 50% acacia barrels. So very neutral, with no flavor profile, no aromas profile, but very
it gives it a bit of a floral on the nose.
The floral help to develop the floral expression and especially you see Viognier quite often in acacia, because Viognier tend to have lots of floral component on the nose, so it helps develop that. And acacia is great for textures as well. So great strategy here by Fred DiProfrio, the long-time winemaker at Bella Terra. These guys have the same team since the beginning. These guys knows all about consistency, knows all about slight improvement every year. And now we are privileged and lucky to to pre-release their big 2020 vintage and to keep going with some of their amazing bottles here. So it's Bella Terra week here at Carl's Wine Club. We just had Marcel Morgenstern here live with us for the last 45 minutes. So that was pretty cool. Thank you, Marcel. Appreciate your time. So yeah, here we are, 6 o'clock here, BC time. Next week, we're taking a break of a feature. No feature next week. We're gonna have a fun thing coming your way. We're gonna launch our Canadian Wine Challenge. So it's pretty cool. I can't wait to tell you more about that. We're right in the midst of working on that. So, woo!
Yes, that will be fun. Fun, fun, fun. We need some good prizes. Hey, that's what we're working on.
Yeah, and a nice structure. So, what else? What else can we talk about right now? So I think it's pretty much it, eh?
Yeah, it was a great night, and I'm really glad you guys joined us. It's always nice in the middle of the week to chat wine and get your mind off everything else and just relax. I love it.
Love it. So we have a couple of good things open here for the rest of the night. So
this was me earlier. Can you guess what that is?
That is pretty cool. I love it.
So we were out at the Silva. We did this little cross-country tasting of the two 2020 Cab Sauves, which was super interesting. And boy, was Ontario on par. And then we got to taste this right out of a tank, hey?
Yeah. So if you remember a Chardonnay day this year, out of 52 Chardonnays that we've tasted, the Da Silva Legado 2016 was my top Chardonnay in the country at that point for Chardonnay Day. So this is the 2022 Legado, just from the tank right in the midst of the fermentation. There were still a brick or two left, so almost done fermentation. And the way that Richard Da Silva does is, well, especially this Chardonnay, tank fermentation, and boom, straight into barrels after for an 18-month period. So there's no barrel. He wants to keep purity of the fruit. He wants to keep precision. So he ferments it in stainless steel before throwing. So this is just about to go in barrel. So yeah, Legado, the brand new Legado is about to go in barrel, and that was Mira tasting the juice right in fermentation. What did you think?
It was delicious. It was delicious. It was really good. I don't know how to describe it because I don't think I've ever tasted something like that before. It's amazing, but it was really good.
Yeah, there you go. So that was it this afternoon. Spent a good chunk of the afternoon tasting wines with Richard Da Silva at Da Silva Winery. So thanks. This is it for us. We're going to go celebrate our middle boy's birthday. So I want to wish a great rest of your week to all of our Canadian wine lovers. It's Bella Terra week. The Carl's Wine Club Members' Choice Winery of the Year this year. So a club favorite to everyone. So we have a total of 8 wines available this week. So go take a look and order your pre-release of the 2020 at a very special price. So take a look at it.
Exciting. Awesome. Well, we'll chat soon, guys. Happy Wine Wednesday.
Cheers.